I want to welcome everybody today. We have David Lecko here, who's the CEO of the DealMachine. David graduated as an electrical engineer from the University of Missouri. He likes mountain climbing and motorcycle riding, and hails from St. Louis, Missouri. He's had several high-tech jobs and has married his passions for real estate and technology with a mobile app. This app is almost like magic. If you ever want to know who owns a property, how to contact them via email, direct mail, phone, etc., and all you have to do is take a picture of the property and the DealMachine makes the information appear. If you're looking for off-market deals, you have to listen to this podcast today. This is a time-saving app and works for getting you the information and basically ups your image as an investor, in my opinion. I can't do it justice, so Dave, please tell us your story, what inspired you to create this DealMachine tool, and I will come up with more questions as we go along, I'm sure. And
Thank
welcome.
You so much, Carl. Thank you so much. Yeah, it's great to be here. And I'm really passionate about this story because I think a lot of investors experience some of the same troubles that I was experiencing before I made the app. And I originally started out reading Rich Dad, Poor Dad, and a lot of people have started out reading that. And then I went to my local meetup because I wanted to learn more about real estate, and I started hearing this method called driving for dollars, which is how you can go and find properties that have tall grass or they're vacant, and then you can get in touch with the owner when you see them so that you can help them, offload the property if they need cash, if they can't keep up with the maintenance, etc. And so I was doing that. I was, driving around in my car. I had a notebook, and I wrote down about 40 addresses. And I had a full-time job also, so when I came home, it was pretty late, and I was tired, so I didn't look up the owners right away. And it wasn't until like 3 weeks later, I had driven by one of these houses again, and somebody else, had already bought it. And I was like, oh, I totally forgot to look up the owners. I did all that time driving, and I never followed up. And so that night I went home, and I started following up with all these properties, looking up who owns them. And I put on an episode of Friends, and I think it took me like 2 or 3 episodes of Friends to get through, half my list of 40 properties. And I was like, I don't want to be spending my time doing this. I want to figure out a better way. And I was a software developer, so I made this app that handles all of that activity when you're right in front of the house. It looks up the owner, it lets you send direct mail, and it also can do like a skip trace to figure out what the owner's phone number and email address is, so that I can just get in touch right that moment, and I don't have any follow-up left to do.
No, I think that's fantastic. And after meeting you out in Oakland, California a couple months ago and talking to you, I thought this would be great for our clients. Now, we don't recommend any products or investment or give investment advice, but when we do come across things that I think will help a lot of our clients, we'd like to at least get them introduced to it. So tell me a little bit more about DealMachine and what it actually does and how it does it.
Sure. Well, quite simply, it's a smartphone app, and it puts you in touch with any property owner, either through direct mail, through phone, or email. And it's really that simple. And it all starts with you inputting an address or taking a picture of a house that you see. The next step is DealMachine tells you who owns it and what their mailing address is. And then you have 2 options. One, you can press a button to send a postcard to the owner offering to buy their property. And that postcard is special because it's got a picture of the house on it. And the second option you have is to press a button to get the owner's phone number, email address, so that you can get in touch with them that way.
And it's pretty much instantaneous. Are you telling me it's like magic here?
It's pretty much like magic. Yeah.
Okay. So I can tell, after talking to you, you're passionate about this. How much time did it save you on your 40 things, like going through your episodes of Friends, if I can?
Yeah. Well, my personal record is capturing 73 houses within an hour now. I walked around the Bate Hendricks neighborhood in Indianapolis. It's like right over here, actually. And I was just walking for an hour's time span, came across probably 80 or 90 houses, took pictures of all of them, and decided to send mail for 70 of them. And so I got all that done, all that mail sent within an hour of walking. And so I didn't have to come home and do anything. Before, it was taking me, a couple episodes of Friends just to look up 30 or 40 owners. So big improvement.
So obviously the investors that are looking for off-market properties, this would be a big help to. Do you know any other reasons investors would use this?
That's really the main thing that we're focused on. I think a lot of different professions may want to get in touch with an owner, whether it's a landscaper or a mail person. And in fact, as an investor, if you have friends that do those professions, you can just add them to your team on DealMachine. And if they see a house that's run down, they can just add it to your app, and then the DealMachine app will send out a postcard on your behalf. So that can be a way that you kind of add your team into a system that can keep bringing deals to you.
Cool. Who are your competitors? I mean, I'm a little bit technically challenged, and I didn't have this, when I started 40 years ago in real estate. Do you have competitors? I know you worked in the high-tech area there.
Yeah. So I think our main competitor is a tablet of paper. I think most people are still using a tablet of paper to do this. So that's the good news. And but technically, there's some other apps that are called Driving for Dollars, and they let you compile your list. But we want to be a single solution that does everything you'd possibly need in one package. And so that's right now we're the only single-click solution that lets you do everything from just take a picture to send out your mail to do a skip trace all in one location.
Cool. You've been pretty successful with that approach. How have things gone in the last couple of months since I met you? With the
really
success?
Good. So yeah, I mean, the app's only been around for about 6-7 months. There have been people who got deals on it right away. My favorite story is on the front page of our site there, and Heath Meadows got $20,000 worth of wholesale deals done in 4 months, just using the app on his existing route to work. So he didn't even actually go out and do more driving. He just kind of used the app to make what he was already doing better. So that was really cool to hear. And then I actually am going to close on my first deal myself. Somebody that I sent a postcard to months ago, and he finally called, and I was like, okay, so I sent him 3 postcards, but the last one went out like 2 months ago. So it's been really exciting to do, my first deal using the app since others have already had some success.
So can anyone load this application? Do you need a certain phone, or does it work on, the Galaxy, the Androids, the iPhones, the iPads, computers, etc., smart TVs?
We want to work on every device, and you can use it on an Android or an iPhone to do the field work, so actually taking pictures of houses. And then you can come back and take a look at what you did on your computer or anything that has a web browser. You can access the DealMachine dashboard that way.
That's fantastic, and I haven't used it yet. I've been playing with it, but my phone's been acting up, and I just ordered a new iPhone 10, and I don't want to put anything else on my phone because I don't want to break it before the new one comes in. So do you think this tool, it was good for Heath? You think it's good for self-directed IRAs as well as non-IRA people buying real estate? I guess so, right?
Absolutely, especially if you're doing rental properties in your retirement account. You've already got a huge advantage because your profits grow tax-free. If you're going to find a house that's a better deal to put in that retirement account, that's just going to increase your profits.
How much does it cost? Can you give us some numbers on that?
Yeah, absolutely. So it costs $49 a month, and any skip tracing or postcards that you send are 99 cents each.
So is it possible to skip trace with the tenant after he leaves without paying all the rent, or not? I would own the house. I know
Gotcha.
this is...
No, it's mainly for putting in an address, and the app then tells you who owns that property. So if you wanted to do a background check on a tenant, this would not be the application for you.
Well, that's for your 2018 project, to make that easy.
That's a good idea.
I've got your website up, but can you give us your contact information? What's a good way for them to get a hold of you personally if they want more questions? And we will take questions on the chat line also.
Yep.
Here.
Yes. So there's a couple options. My email is david@DealMachineApp.com. And our phone number is 833-321-DEAL, D-E-A-L. So you could call or text that number to get in touch with us as well. So whatever your preference is.
And DealMachine app is APP, correct?
APP, that's right. So if you look on the website you've got on your shared screen, the URL is showing there, DealMachineApp.com.
All right, right up there at the top. Okay, let me see if I can get into the chat here and see if anybody has any other questions for you. Is there anything else you think we should ask you that we haven't asked you? I mean, I'm just taken away and blown away by the fact that you take a picture of this place, it pastes the picture on a postcard, mails a guy, tells him to call you, and you buy a house. Mm-hmm. It's pretty much that simple.
Yes. One other thing I would say is if you're already doing, if you're already driving for dollars, which means you're going out looking for vacant houses, then just using the DealMachine app, it will just make that process a lot faster for you. If you're sitting there thinking you might want to try doing driving for dollars for the first time, I wanted to explain, a lot of people say it takes 100 houses to find a deal. So using the DealMachine app will certainly help you, and then having that expectation of how many houses should be your goal to find to really see if it's going to work for you would be, I would say, between 1 and 200 houses to start to see what your response rate is and to get enough sample data to know if driving for dollars works for you.
So 200, that's a fair amount. But I guess if you're sitting there on your phone, is that it basically comes back within a minute, the information when you take the picture?
Oh yeah, it's instantaneous, so just a matter of a couple seconds.
Okay. Let me see what we got. A couple of questions here. They go to your, so you go to your website, you can download the app, you can buy it from the App Store, and then the $49 a month, that just comes out automatically off your phone bill. Is that how it works?
Great question. So the pricing I described, that's going to go live tomorrow. If you download the app right now, you'll see a few different other options. But yeah, I wanted to talk either way about the new plan. So either way, it's going to ask you to enter a credit card, and it'll be like a free trial basis. So you'll be able to send out several pieces of mail without paying anything, and then you can choose to cancel your trial if you don't feel it's right for you.
I don't know how it gets. I don't know how it gets much better than that, Dave. From that aspect. Let's see if we see anything else on here. I'm going to open up and unmute and see if anybody has any questions from the unmuting part of this, since we don't have a huge audience today. But if I can do that, we will unmute. I don't know if I know how to unmute him here. See how technically challenged I am?
Let's see if I can help. One question I had for you, Carl, was if you're working with like the average person who's using their 401k or their retirement account to invest in property, how many would you say, what percentage are looking for properties themselves versus just looking for like a property through like a realtor to invest in?
The answer to that is pretty easy to answer. I think probably half of our people look for properties themselves because they, I know that they have bird dogs and they have other people looking for them as well. So,
yep.
There's a lot of realtors that don't understand investors. Some investors have realtors that understand what they're looking for. But I just see this as an app just quickly when you're driving down. I mean, I still do it when I'm, going on vacation, or I'm driving somebody to the airport and I see a property. I say, wow, I wonder what's going on with there. Because, you can almost tell they've got something up. I'm in Florida a lot, and some of the properties down there after the hurricane are in disrepair, and the people want to get rid of them, are getting the hurricane money and then selling the property. So this would be coming in handy from that aspect.
Absolutely.
All right,
I
so
actually know a few of the. Do we have a few seconds left?
Yep. Go ahead. I just figured out how to get some of the questions raised.
Oh, good. Okay. Well, I was just noticing on the attendee list, I see a few invitees that have come over from the DealMachine app side: Rissa Collins, David Gunn, and Bill Green. So I wanted to say hi. And then I didn't want to put you on the spot, Carl, but I was wondering if you might be able to give like a brief overview of like why you'd want to buy a property in your retirement account, maybe just like a 101 about how that works.
Yeah, I can give you a real good answer on there. Tax-free income for life. My mom and dad were in real estate. Their mom and dads were in real estate. So, and my kids are in real estate. So we've got like 4 generations of it. And when I found out that I could buy a property using my IRA or 401k, and then all the rent that came into that property was tax-free or at least tax-deferred, it was just like a boon and increased my net worth substantially. So now I'm trying to get almost all of my real estate that I didn't buy before I learned about this into Roth IRAs and 401ks, and will have tax-free income for the rest of my life, and hopefully for a lot of my kids and grandkids, depending on exactly how we set this up. But that's a simple fact for it. And some people don't like to buy real estate, but they like the security that real estate affords them. So not only can I buy real estate, but I can use other people's IRAs like banks, pay them the interest rate, and they have a mortgage on my home or on my rental property. So, I mean, I think those two reasons are just fantastic for that.
Great. I think that's helpful. Thanks for sharing, how your company does that and can help.
All right, let me just tell you a couple things that we have here. I have some vacant properties with deceased owners. Does the app find the heir who owns the property?
Oh, great question. So I would say the solution to find the heir of the property would be starting with a skip trace. And so what I would do is I would use the app to skip trace the existing owner, and that will bring back one or many phone numbers. Some of those phone numbers may be relatives. So I would call each one of the phone numbers, and I would start the conversation by saying, hey, this, call may be out of the blue, and you may not even be able to help, but I noticed this property on 123 Main Street looked like it may be, you're right. You might be the rightful heir for this property, and then just kind of let them talk and see if they know anything about it and start with that.
Okay, great. Another question from Christopher. What are some good scripts and ways of going about it as a real estate investor on the postcard? Do you put that on there, or can each person write their own script?
Yes. So in the app, we provide you a basic template. And Carl, I was wondering on your computer if you could click the How It Works button, and I'll show you what that script looks like. If you scroll down a little bit, you should eventually see a postcard.
You're making me go all in here, and you're making me get technical.
All right, keep going. Okay, there's an example. Yeah. So if their house looks vacant, you can use this script. And I have some additional advice on this too, is if the owner lives there, you may not want to say their house looks vacant. And so I would say something like this. I would say, instead of vacant, is this your property? And I would say, I'm interested in buying your property at 4076 Cornelius Avenue, and I would take it in any condition. And then the second part would be, if I can close quickly and with cash. If you're interested, please call or text me. Have a great day. And that way you don't have to say it's vacant. And that template that I just said, you can use for any property almost.
Cool. Here's another one kind of on those same lines. Can they have more than one postcard template set up? Bill asked that question.
Yes. We have a few investors that will invest in, 2 different markets. And so they want their return address and phone number, for example, to be different. And so you can set up as many templates as you want. You can change what the actual verbiage says, and you can also change what the template return address and phone number is too.
All right, that's great. Rissa also said, would like to know how to pull up my list and catch duplicates, and how to send differently worded postcards on subsequent mailings. And then she has one other question is, how many touch points and repeating mail would you suggest per house? I know you said 3 earlier. I gave you 2 questions there.
Well, first of all, hi, Rissa. So the first part of the question was how to prevent duplicates. And so as long as you don't remove any properties from your account, if you go to add a property that's already in your account, it'll actually give you a message now that says you've already added this property. And if you wanted to find it, then you could just search for the address and it would come up and you could view that property you already added. The second part of the question, I think, was how to change what the postcard says for each mailing. So right now the the app would just resend the postcard that you sent the first time if you don't modify it. If you do modify it between the sending period, then that would change what the language says. Right now, there's not like a campaign feature that you can say every house, change the second and third mailing to say this. But what we found is we've just been using that short, sweet message, and that's given us in Indianapolis about 6 calls back for every 50 houses that we mail to with that. And then I have sent my mail 3 times every 21 days, 3 times, and then I set them back to do every 90 days. And I know that the owner may not be ready to sell that moment when they first get a postcard. And this example of the house that I mentioned earlier, I sent the first postcard probably 6 months ago, and I sent 3 total. And then he was on the 90-day plan, but he called me 2 months after I sent the last postcard. So you may want to experiment with that in your own market, but that's just what I do. And I've heard as many as 7 times on the short interval, every 21 days for 7 times. So it really, I think, just depends. I'm doing 3 times and then extending out the sending window.
Does the info for the property come from the public records? Is that where it's pulled from?
Yes. So we have direct integrations with counties, and then we haven't gotten all the counties yet. So we have a data provider that gets their data from the counties, so that we pay for that data. It doesn't cost you anything. You get unlimited lookups for this data anywhere in the United States. So that initial info that you see with the owner name, the owner address, that's based on the county record. Now there's like a skip trace feature that I mentioned, and that data comes from several different places. We integrate with some existing skip trace providers, as well as use information that's publicly available on the internet to pull that all in one place for you inside the app that you can use when you're just out and about.
Okay, we have a couple of questions here on the pricing again. Your new pricing scheme is going to come in. It's $49 a month plus 99 cents a postcard. First question, will your old pricing stay in place as well? Also, can you look up information without sending a postcard for free included with the $49 a month?
Yes, really important questions. And if you're an existing customer already, those pricing options for you will not go away. You will not be forced to change your plan in any way. But for anybody who's signing up new, we are changing up the pricing options as I mentioned earlier. So I hope that answers your question. And then, yes, when you're on the $49 a month plan, that includes unlimited lookups of who the owner is. You can tell when they last bought the property, and so you can get all that information free before you decide to send a postcard, because you'd kind of want to know if somebody just recently bought the property, it may not be worth spending the money to send a postcard. So that's why we set it up like that.
Okay. I noticed that there's an enhanced search. This is a question from Jinwoo. I noticed that there's an enhanced search for more info on the owner with the upgrade plan. Is that unlimited for $99 plan?
Great question. So yeah, in the old pricing model, the monthly plans have set amounts of the skip traces, which is the enhanced search that you're mentioning. That looks up the owner's phone number and email. So with the old plans, the $99 a month plan came with 15, and the $250 a month plan came with 45 of those. But in the new plan, if you're paying, you're going to pay $49 a month, and then any skip trace is going to cost 99 cents.
Okay, I think that answers Holly's question as well. I know that you know that we're pressed on time here today. Can you do me one more favor, Dave, and give out your email address and the phone number and we've got the website up on online here now. So I just want people that don't have this that are listening can also get a hold of you, and they don't call us asking for you.
It is David at DealMachineApp.com, and our phone number is 833-231-DEAL, D-E-A-L. And I'd love to talk to you guys.
Yeah, Dave, thanks a lot. I really appreciate your time and energy and your passion for this, and I think it's going to be a big boon to real estate investors all over the country, and probably the foreigners since they're buying up a lot of our property for contacting people. Again, thank you very much, and thank you for your time. We look forward to seeing how you are in about a year from now. And if you make it to Philadelphia, make sure you let us know.
Oh, I certainly will. Thank you so much for having me. It's been a blast.
Do you have any last words words of wisdom for people?
Just get out there and start taking action. Call me up if there's anything I can do to help.
All righty. Thanks a lot. We're going to end the recording at this point in time.